Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Golden Sun. In the last round we got here to the Bilbin Cave entrance, and now we're going to continue on. Now first off, I'm actually going to give Garrett one of my Venus Djinn temporarily so I can get access to the growth psi energy, which allows you to grow vines like this up to their full length, I think is the word for that. And we want to come up here because we can get a fairly decent item by coming up here. Welcome to the main part of Bilbin Cave, and by coming up through the northern higher exit, we get the Elven Rapee, which is actually a really good weapon at this point in the game. I'm gonna give that to Isaac because he honestly... I think he has the lower attack than Garrett, and, well, main character immunity shenanigans that I like to do. Also, this place is fairly maze-like, but also there's very few encounters in my experience. It's also where we get our next new encounter gnomes. Gnomes have 48 HP, weak to earth, and strong against wind. Fairly standard enemies, nothing really that's stand outing about them, if that made grammatical sense. Now, it looks like you can do quite a bit in this room at this point, but you actually can't yet. We'll find out what we can do in this room later. However, we can push these torches in order to get access to an item, so I'd recommend doing that. And by doing that, you melt the ice, you can jump over the puddle, climb up here, and you can go around this little bend to fight a new enemy, oozes. I think there's, well, oozes and, ghouls. Oozes, I think, are new enemies. 72 HP, weak against fire, strong against water. And ghouls... have 99 HP, strong against fire, weak against water, fire, strong against water, rather. And they can also drop antidotes, which is decent, I suppose. Otherwise, fairly vanilla. And by coming up here, we get a vial, which is a fairly decent recovery item. I should mention, if you get any items in battles that do specific elemental damage, or just heal status ailments, I just recommend selling them, because honestly, your healing psi energies do more than well enough against those. And now we're in the snowy area. That's random. And along the way, we got another new enemy, Mauler. Maulers have 109 HP, strong against, weak against fire, strong against wind. They can drop nuts, which is, as you probably noticed, a very good item, so I'd recommend doing that. And welcome to our next town, the town of... Imil? I'm not sure. And before we continue on with plot here, I obviously want to do some raiding. There is an empty bottle in here. That's a key item. It'll become prevalent much later on, though. Here in the inn, if you investigate the stove, you get some lucky pepper, which I think increases critical rate. Yeah, luck, which is essentially what determines your critical hits. I recommend giving that to Ivan because, while he's overall a mage type of character, you're actually going to be using him quite a bit for physical attacks later on. The only character you're not going to really use for physical attacks that often, in comparison to the others, is the fourth character. And there we got some more money, which is always dandy. And in here we have a thing I hate since Twilight... I've hated ever since Twilight Princess, ice slide puzzles. But first, investigate the gravestone for a lucky coin. But yeah, now it's time for some ice slide puzzles, a la Twilight Princess, and Pokemon Crystal, actually. There are two things you can get in this area. First off, I'm going for the item you can get, which is much less important, honestly. Because over here you may have noticed this chest, and this contains another vial. Now, for the other thing. But first off, you have to come up here to the north of the town and move this snowman over to the left, because otherwise we can't get into that cave up there, which is our next destination. Yeah, I always have to use notes for this part because I hate ice slide puzzles. The only one I really have memorized to any extent is Pokemon Crystals. But for coming up here, we get our next, Mars Djinn. Which one is this again? Fever. This little guy here wraps foes in fever delusion. Pretty much, it's a status effect guy. I'll rarely ever use him. Status effects, I'm not sure if they're terribly useful in this game. Then again, I'm not really familiar with many RPGs that they are useful in. Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy V are about the ones I can think of immediately off the top of my head. Anyway, by talking to this girl, you learn that that old couple's house we were at the start of the town has a woman named Mia in it now. You need to talk with that girl in order to progress, so make sure you do that. So let's go check out this Mia girl. Wonder if she's a unique NPC. She is! How are you feeling? Apparently not too well. You'll feel better soon. And she uses psi energy, so she's an adept. How do you feel now? And, wow, yeah. No, Grandpa, you mustn't push yourself too hard. Apparently Mia has been around here for a while and helps people when she can. Don't mention it. You should rest in bed too, ma'am. Who are you? Can I help you? What the... Was that... the lighthouse? It can't be. Only I can... Oh no. Alex! Alex, the guy from when Jenna was taken? Okay, we better check this out then. And yeah, we're actually right near a lighthouse, which is kind of random for a world like this, but trust me, there's an explanation that we'll find out later. And before entering this place, I recommend saving because this is our first major dungeon. With great music. Welcome to the Mercury Lighthouse, ladies and gents. Somebody is here. Someone is here. Can you hear it too? Not really. You can't hear it? Well, I can. Alex is the only one other than I who can enter the Mercury Lighthouse. But this statue is blocking my way. Man, that's gotta suck. Coming all this way just to be blocked by a simple piece of rock that we can easily move. Did you do that? Yeah. I knew it. I saw a ghostly force pushing it. You could see our psi energy? Psi energy? Is that what you call that power? We thought you were using psi energy when you healed that old man, Mia. That's a special power handed down to the members of the Mercury clan. From generation to generation. It's called Ply, a power generated through meditation. It's essentially a healing psi energy. It was once much stronger. This Mercury clan sounds a little like the people of Vale, don't you think? Yeah. Sure, there are sworn protectors of a special power, just like us. I have to go. I have to find whoever entered the lighthouse. Apparently, Ply is also a MacGuffin thing because it can open doors. It is actually really good healing psi energy when you get a hold of it, though. I think it does like 100 to 150 HP, I want to say. But since we can't quite leave her alone, we're gonna head in after her. And you just don't have luck with things blocking your way, do you? Anyway, let's just take it out to get it out of her way. This is a lizard man. Lizard men have 129 HP. They're weak against fire, strong against water. They can also drop nuts, I believe. But honestly, they're nothing too hard. Also, as you can see, I got Ragnarok when I leveled up off screen, so that's really good. It's actually one of the most powerful psi energies in the game. I recommend using it against any given boss, really. And she just leaves us behind, so we're going to chase after her some more. Jump over some platforms. And once again, a statue blocks your path. You just don't have luck. Let's help her out again. You saved me again, haven't you? Yeah, kind of. Do you have business in the lighthouse too? Yeah. I thought so. I'm sure there'll be more places hid that I cannot pass alone. Only those of the Mercury clan are permitted to enter this place. However, I sense something special about you. I feel I can trust you. And Mia joined our party, the 4th party member and a Mercury Adept, so she is water elemental. She comes with Fizz too, which is a healing Djinn. Very, very useful. Equipment-wise, though, she's a bit lacking. I don't recommend getting stuff for her, because that will require backtracking, but she gets much better as she levels up. Also, that hard nut we got a while back, use that on her because she will always have the lowest defense, just based off her base stats. Ooh, waterfalls. Anyway, now for this place's first puzzle, if you could call it that. A simple pipe push. Push that pipe, water jets start growing out like that, and you will be pushed by these things. Essentially, you just need to walk around the room and re-push that pipe from the opposite direction so you can walk around the place without being pushed around by all sorts of water currents. Actually, kind of, for some reason, I'm not sure why, but it reminds me of Pokemon Ranger. I don't think there was ever a puzzle like this in one of those games. Because I'm thinking water areas in all 3 of the games. I can't remember many of them. I can remember the sewers from the first game, but that's about it. I owe myself another playthrough of Shadows of Almia, at least, because I love Shadows of Almia. Guardian Signs is fantastic as well, but the original game's kind of lacking. And here we got a Psi Crystal. This is essentially another one of those Psi Energy crystals that we've seen on the ground, the purple ones, only in item form. They're very rare, and they sell for a decent chunk, too, if I recall. So if you're ever in the need of some money, and you just want to... Because, honestly, the best way to recover Psi Energy is just walking around or using an inn. Feel free to sell them. Keep your HP restoring items, though, around, just in case something happens. And it will happen, because this game starts off easy, goes easy through most of it, but then you start getting towards endgame where enemies are like, lol, we're gonna murder you. Or at least in my experience. Some people probably find this entire game easy. Anyway, next enemy is a Siren. Sirens die very quickly. The 116 HP, weak against fire, strong against water. They can drop some pretty good stuff, if I recall correctly. I know they have the sleep ability, so watch out for that, but nothing too bad. And here we have our next puzzle. Block pushing, or statue pushing, more like. Just push the statue down, and over to the switch, and you will be victorious in this very simplistic puzzle. Like most of the puzzles in Tales of Symphonia, actually. I don't like Tales of Symphonia that much, I'm not gonna lie. Great soundtrack, but I hate the characters, and the story's pretty stupid. Same thing for the most part with Abyss, though Abyss at least has a somewhat decent story, and a couple of likable characters, in my opinion. I'm probably pissing so many people off with these statements, but I don't care. To each their own. Though Fantasia is still fairly decent. Ooh, new enemies, Cuddles! Which sounds really unthreatening, if you ask me. Anyway, Cuddles, once I get the enemy bio up, have 80 HP, weak against fire, strong against water. They can poison you, if I recall, and they can drop sleep bombs, which is a status item that I never use. Honestly, you really don't have to worry much about elemental strengths and weaknesses until towards the middle of the game, because enemies just don't have enough HP to warrant really worrying about it, especially when Ivan does this. Ooh, level up, sweet. And now we go down the hole. I miss Tiny Toons. Tiny Toons is great. Anyway, now this is something I don't like. He who honors the heart of the goddess shall stand at the center of all, like a swan in the center of a rippling pond. What we have to do here is first off equip Ply to a shortcut. Because as you might know, she used Ply to open up a door. And we have to use Ply on the statue's heart here in order to make it work. We need to be in front of it first, like so. But it'll only do this if you use it from a shortcut. If you use it from the menu, it'll just heal you. So, yeah, that's kind of stupid if you ask me, but still. For doing that, we make these little panels that have X's on them glow, and in doing so... teleportation, yeah. Scuba-da-woo-bop. Or at least that's what I would like to say, but really all this is bouncing on water. So, yeah, that's a thing. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 10, we'll be continuing on through the Mercury Lighthouse, hopefully finding out what the hell's going on here in the process. See you guys then.